Very true. All right, we're setting up a second game. Also, if you have any comments about sound or stream quality, please let it be known in the chat, and somebody will get that word to me, and we'll try and work on it. For now, things seem to be going all right. So what do you think Siege should do differently in order to make sure that this game goes more according to, well, will be better for his map score?
Well, I think one nuance of this map is the natural base does not have a ramp, so we can see something like that adept push work a little bit better. The map definitely is going to favor Seed in those early game engagements right there. We can get the adepts in, he can start to pressure the natural base if he opts to go with the same composition. And so definitely we need to look out for that. But even with that, Gumiho can do the same thing he did last game. He can get the supply depots down, get the engineering bays down, and defend that pretty early. I think in the end right here, we're seeing Gumiho play just at a little bit better of a style. You mentioned looking on a Ligulac, looking for the games between these two players and saying, we can't really compare them because Seed doesn't have those professional matches at the moment. And that's exactly it. Seed does not have those professional matches. He does not quite have that higher level experience in the last week or two to be able to bring him in a steady competing manner against Gumiho in this game.
All right, well then, speaking of that, let's get into Overgrowth. On the top right corner, we have that man you just so introduced as Seed.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, the Blue Terran player up 1-0 in this best of 7, it is Gumiho.
All right, these two players having a little bit of fun with each other in all sorts of weird, interesting things in Korean. I have no clue what any of this means. I can actually read it, but I never bother to learn what any of these things actually mean. For now, he decides to go with, pretty fast expand, and his opponent, well, he's thinking very much the same thing. So, nothing horribly cheesy coming out just yet, although I'm going to give both of these players the benefit of the doubt in saying that they can, whip that out eventually still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing we got to remember last game is how Seed opened. He went for that early Zealot push, which he's not doing now. It very much is a map-based thing on Echo, but what was so cool about that early Zealot push is it's an early game standard opener from Seed that you can do that. You can decide to see if you can get some damage done, find a nice angle with the pylon, which is generally what you see happen a little bit later on in that push if it works well. And your opponent isn't going to be able to scout it super well, especially if this Reaper gets in. They actually are unable to scout it, so I love that he tried that in game 1. It would be interesting to see that kind of go down on different maps, because even if Terran get the Reaper across the map, that's when the Zealot hits them. But for now, though, we're seeing standard play out of both these players. Robo for Seed, which is incredibly standard, incredibly safe. You could go Twilight, but generally we're seeing Robo be prioritized since you want to get your robotics facility in either Colossi or Disruptor quicker than your Blinkstalkers, unless you really, really are comfortable with that Blinkstalker micro against Bio.
And if you're playing against somebody who is not, heavy on the I'll drop mines in your mineral line base, which is something that Gumiho most definitely is. In all the games I looked of him, he likes his Widow Mines. No, let me rephrase that. He likes to use Widow Mines. He fucking hates Widow Mines in the hands of other players, but he doesn't need to worry about that now, as he does not have that in his arsenal.
Every once in a while, I remember when I was playing... What race was it? I think I was playing against... I think I was playing against older Cyclones when I was playing Protoss, and I had a lot of Immortals and Blinkstalkers. Like, you make those Cyclones, bro. You make them. I enjoy playing versus them. But yeah, you do that. When it's that feeling when you totally know how to counter something, but at least at the moment we're seeing something where we don't totally know how to counter. Gumiho opens up with 4 Marines and a Cyclone plus the Medevac, which is going to be a unique opener, especially with its speed coming across the map. You would normally see this move by ground, not by air.
Yeah, and those Cyclones really do take down pylons very, very quickly, and especially if he's going to get behind the mineral line where there isn't currently a pylon, and he does. That's not going to be an overcharge range. He's going to be able to take down that pylon gets cancelled. And yeah, that is a very nice maneuver. And even if he just pulls back now, which he's not deciding to do. Oh, having to pull the probes even. Oh, that is never something you want to do. Oh, puts it back down. Not a lot of hit points left. Nice micro there, picking that up before it gets taken down and gets out of there. Maybe permanently this time. See, deciding to stick that out.
That was a beautiful attack, a different trajectory than what most Protosses are used to. Comes into the natural base, not only gets some kills, but forces the pull, and the Cyclone Marine can still keep fighting right now. In total, Gumiho has managed to only kill 3 workers, but more importantly, he's managed to pull those workers away. He's stopped any aggression that it looks like Seed was really aiming to do a little bit earlier on, and that was a beautiful, beautiful mind game, something that you're not used to as Protoss, and it's not quite in the meta.
Alright, we got Blink finishing up right now, and Seed is trying to get the intercept on that medevac, but is not going to make it. Well, instead, they're just going straight for this opponent's wall. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yep. Well, now the big question is, can Seed break through the wall, do damage? Blink is done, but he only has 3 gates off the back of this, so it's not that potent of an attack. It's an early attack, and that's what he's going to be banking off of. Yet already 2 siege tanks are here. The medevac is going to be able to support the Marines, and we do have the Warp Prism for some possible multi-pronged harassment, but it looks like Seed's just been taken down a notch, and I'm not sure how he's going to fix that.
The good defense that Gumiho has right here, being able to just put those tanks behind there. With the wall up, of course, you can't do anything, so if you're anything but a Terran, then that's going to be very nasty indeed.
Seed pressures into the main, and looks like he's going to be able to kill maybe 1 worker. Looks like none, but he will eventually be able to take the 3rd base on the right-hand side, which is going to be a great mind game. He knows that he's down a little bit, and this is how he's going to be able to compensate, and it's going to be a compensation where generally Gumiho's not going to spot it. But you do need to remember, as you were mentioning, Marsh, that Gumiho is like doing those drops, like doing those multi-prongs attacks, which may inadvertently lead him into scouting that early 3rd base.
Yeah, very much. And then I think he's in a lot of trouble, because if you're a Terran and you get caught by the enemy army here, you just pick up and fly over there. And as any other race, you shouldn't have to go all the way around while your opponent is just murdering everything in your main base. So yeah, if it doesn't get spotted, then kudos to Seed. This is a nice mind game, and most certainly will get him a little bit ahead. But if he gets caught, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's getting really rough. Gumiho postures onto the left-hand side of the map to attack what would be Seed's 3rd base, and this is exactly what Seed is banking off of. Yet, this is just not going too well for Seed. He tried to make that earlier attack happen. He knew he couldn't. There's the scan. Sees no 3rd, and instantly Gumiho knows that it must be on the right-hand side, because the potency of Seed's attack was simply not enough. There was only 2 gates or 3 gates with it. There wasn't enough, so Gumiho's just going to look around, get some scouting information, and instead of attacking the 3rd, goes for the alternate 3rd.
Just doesn't get that tank there with that Disruptor shop. So
Gumiho needs to be careful versus Disruptors pushing forward. Looks like he'll be alright for now.
Yeah. Now, as you said, if you're playing at this level, you know exactly how much minerals and resources your opponent has to work with, and if you don't see a 3rd base, you know something funky is going on, or he went the other way and probably knows, well, he suspects about this thing, especially considering the defensive posture of Seed, and now he does indeed scan it. And once again, we're going to get that slow siege up. We've got the Liberators, we've got the tanks, and what is Gumiho going to do? Seed going to do against it? Well, moving a little bit forward, gets not a disruptor shot off, and voluntarily moves inside the kill zone of Gumiho.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Versus double Liberator and double Siege Tank, you're going to take heavy losses, especially with Gumiho stimming into Seed's natural base. We do have the Mothership Core ready, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Blinkstalkers blink forward, do focus down 1 Liberator, but the Liberator is still alive, and a Siege Tank is also taken down, but there's simply so much here. Bio for Gumiho at 80 supply to Seed's 40. A big stim forward, a Sniper the Colossi snipe of the Adepts, and Seed simply does not have enough. GG, well played. Gumiho's attack into the natural turns into a phenomenal 300, almost 60-degree surround of Seed's main army. Gumiho, he is showing his current skill against Seed to be quite high.
Yeah,